Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. Today I'm going to take a Skewb and turn it into a checker Skewb. Back in 2014, I bought my first Skewb, the Lan, along with this set of replacement stickers. As you can see, it's now 8 years later, and, well, the stickers have not been replaced. Now, if you watch my channel, you probably know about the now long out of business sticker company called Skewb, and sure enough, this is an original set of Skewb stickers from back in the very year that Skewb first became a WCA event. Now, if you don't find these sticker shades oddly nostalgic, well, you probably weren't around when Skewb was. As for me, I've already made an entire cube to bring back those memories, so rather than just do the same thing with a modern Skewb, I figured we should do something special with what's now my last remaining set of original Skewb stickers. How about something creative like an original sticker mod? So I went ahead and bought a cheap Skewb to build the mod on top of. I didn't want to ruin the sentimental value of the old Lan, and now the only thing left is to come up with a good idea for this sticker mod. My first thought was to make something similar to this mod, the 3x3 that looks like a scrambled 2x2, except instead of a 3x3, it would actually be a Skewb that looks like a scrambled 2x2. But I figured I'd done this mod concept a couple of times already, and the scrambled look might look a little bit weird on Skewb. So then I figured, why not keep the 2x2 look, but put it in some sort of pattern, like a checkerboard. Not quite as elaborate as this one, maybe just the basic 4 tiles per side, but then I realized you'd literally just be cutting these center stickers a couple times, and it wouldn't affect these outer corners at all. And so then I thought, instead of cutting on this axis, why not cut down this axis so you cut across the corners as well? It'd be kind of like this checkered pinwheel cube I made in a 3x3, except with only the diagonal cuts. In fact, I actually made a mock-up on this dino cube. Here's what the pattern would look like, except of course, superimposed onto a Skewb, so the black lines would be a little bit different. And this was the point in the video where I was going to say, but let's make one more little change. But you know what? I'm actually pretty sold on this idea after making the mock-up, so I think I'm just going to roll with it. So now that we have the parts and the idea, making the mod itself should actually be pretty simple. We just have to remove all the stickers from the Skewb, take a ruler and a knife, and cut each side of the stickers in half twice, like this, and then apply them to the Skewb appropriately. It's as simple as that, so let's go ahead and start the time lapse. And here is the final product. I'm going to call it the checker Skewb. What do you think? I personally really like it. It looks just like the mock-up that I made, except with slightly more old school shades and of course different black lines. The build quality I would say is pretty good, at least on these 4 sides. I actually messed up the very first cut that I tried to do on the white stickers, and so as you can see, some of the cuts are a little bit wonky on these 2 sides. But you know what? As a whole, if you just sit back and take it in, I would say it looks not too bad. So you know what? Why don't we go ahead and scramble it up and see how hard it is to solve? You know what? It just occurred to me that I hadn't even tried this Skewb yet. It's just a random cheap one from Chi, and the turning is not too great. Let's go ahead and try and fix that with a drop of DNM 37. There we go, and now let's break that in, and oh yeah, that's quite a lot better already. Okay, now let's see how tricky this thing is to solve. You might think that it would be a lot easier than a Skewb because mixing up the colors means that there's only 3 distinct sides, but that's actually not true. Just like on my previous checkered sticker mods, I made it so that the 2 opposite sides have exactly the mirrored pattern. It's very subtle to see when a piece is wrong, like right here, but as you can see, these do not line up. And the way that the pieces of a Skewb work is that each center can only ever be rotated by 180 degrees and not by 90 degrees, so these 2 pieces will never line up with each other. Instead, this corner piece has to go with this other center, and this one it'll always line up with. And so in my experience, the easiest way to match pieces up, instead of trying to be like, okay, orange is on the left, so we have to go ahead and find the piece that has the orange on the left. No, instead, we just go ahead and do some trial and error and see which pieces fit. So it seems like these 2 pieces fit right here. This one does not fit right there, and so let's maybe try this one instead. And it seems like this one does fit. And finally, for the last one, maybe let's try this one. That one does not fit. How about this one right here? That one also doesn't fit. And so that leaves us with our only option as this one right here. So let's go ahead and put that in. And there we go. Our first layer is complete. And now moving around to the other side, I think we're probably best off just using the beginner's method here. I could probably figure out how to do Sarah's advanced, but you know what? I'm just going to see that this piece needs to go onto the top. And so we'll do a U-perm to put it there. There we go. And now this is why you don't do beginner's method, because we now have the very annoying case with 2 twisted corners. So we have to do a couple of sludges here and then a couple of sludges here. And that'll get all the pieces in the right spot. And now for the final step, looking at these last 4 centers, it may look like these 2 centers are just swapped, which would obviously be impossible, but in fact, you can see that this center is solved. whereas this one is not solved. This one is actually opposite. And so that means we're going to hold this one in the front and do a U-perm to cycle these 3 pieces, just like this. And there we go, the Skewb is now solved. That was actually very straightforward and pretty easy to do with the beginner's method. In fact, I actually love how simple the pattern is compared to the other sticker mods that I've made, because it makes it very obvious when a piece is lined up versus when it isn't. And like I mentioned, centers can only be rotated by 180 degrees, which means that you can never get the 2 of them mixed up. And of course, 2 adjacent corners can never be swapped on a Skewb, which also avoids some confusion. The one fun and slightly confusing thing that you can do on it is an H-perm. Let's try that out. Here we go, and as you can see, it sort of looks solved from a distance, but actually if you look at it, these 4 center pieces are swapped around. I guess if you wanted, you could also pop out these 2 centers and swap them around and make sort of an alternate solved state for this puzzle, where all the sides sort of look like this, all checkered. But personally, I think I like the look where everything is nice and uniform. Now, the one more little annoyance that I've noticed as I've been turning this puzzle is that the little edges of the stickers sort of pop up a little bit, and some of them are starting to peel off even. That's of course because these stickers were designed in an era where all Skewbs look like this, very pointy corners, whereas they're now being put on a Skewb like this with very rounded corners, and so of course they're going to stick off just a little bit. I guess I could take a knife and round them down just to avoid that peeling, but you know what, for the time being, I'm pretty happy with it as is. But yeah, I hope you're also happy with this mod. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you have other sticker mod ideas, or if you want to see more like this in the future, and that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next time.